Welcome everybody to the Bush and Me show. We're back week 2. Week 1 is in the books. Just a quick recap before we jump into it. I was 2-1 in my picks, hit my best bet. Bush, you were 0-3. You had a close one on your best bet, but Mike Vrabel had different plans for you. He decided to kick the field goal and cover the spread instead of win the game. You were in the house.
I was in the house, and Rabel probably had a couple dollars on it. Nah, let me retract that. No, I get why he tried to kick the field goal. It was about 4 minutes left, so he thought that defense was going to be good enough to hold the Saints, and he thought he can get it within one. But obviously the Saints had other things up their sleeve. And I was in the building, man. I guess they call me quote unquote legend of the game. So it was always good to be back in New Orleans and spend time in the dome and. It's always better when those guys get a W. So they didn't win by what I wanted them to, but it worked out.
Win is a win, especially for the players and the team.
Absolutely.
My theme last week, and what seems to be the theme in Vegas, is for week 2 is nothing's ever as good as it looks, and nothing's ever as bad as it seems. So you look at some of these teams, like the Dallas Cowboys, put a hurting on them Giants, 40-0. A couple other teams had blowouts this week 1. Going into week 2 as a former player, what's something that you guys try to tell each other? You refocus the team so you're not riding on your high horse, because the media is telling you all week how good you guys are. Like the Dolphins, that's what I can think of. Dolphins had a great week, put up a bunch of points. Now they got to go do it against New England. How do you refocus that?
Well, I think it's if you're on each side of the spectrum, you have to figure out how can we keep this success going, right? If you're a Cowboys player or if you're in the Cowboys organization, obviously their fans are going crazy right now. They're probably already booking up rooms in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, because they just tend to overreact anytime they do get success because they haven't had it consistently in so long. So, but can a team like the Cowboys continue to put an effort like that? Going into week 2, going into week 3, that's something that we need to see. But on the flip side of it, the New York Giants losing 40-0 Sunday Night Football, building off what you're trying to do last year, the things that you were able to do, the success you were able to have. So to me, it's like some of these teams got to get back to the drawing board and figure out their way. And then some of these teams got to figure out if they can continue to keep up this success. You talked about the Miami Dolphins, and I really think this is an interesting organization and team right now because they thrashed the Los Angeles Chargers through the air. Didn't really get it done on the ground much, but I feel like going into this game, I believe Bill Belichick, they have the Patriots this week. So Bill Belichick, you're going to have to figure out how am I going to stop Tyreek, right? Like how many opportunities is this guy going to have to run streaks and flies down the sideline, and Tua is putting accurate balls right into his hands. So at the end of the day, it's like, can they keep that up? Or can a team like the Patriots slow down that charge and make the Miami Dolphins have success somewhere else? So I think, going in from week 1 to week 2, there's obviously a lot of overreactions and on both sides, whether your team wins or loses. So let's just see how they're able to respond come week 2. I think that's the biggest thing that we need to see out of, your favorite team out there.
Well, week 1, the underdogs, if you took every team getting points in week 1, were 10-6 against the spread. So a lot of underdogs covering out there. The unders were 12-4. So a lot of low-scoring games out there, which kind of led into what we said last week. Only 3 preseason games. Not a lot of starters play during the preseason anymore. So it takes more time. You got to get the timing down. It takes more time to get together as a unit. 12-4 to the unders. And the one that was most surprising to me, the away teams were 10-6. So you think you have a home field advantage in the NFL? Not so fast, my friend. Away teams took 10 out of the 16. Leading up to that overreaction we're talking about, how the public loves to take what they just saw, like a 49ers team who trounced the Steelers, and hop on them. Teams that lost by double digits week 1 are 39-22 against the spread following week. So the public thinks they're getting a lot of value based off what they saw, but like I said last year, nothing's ever as bad as it seems, nothing's ever as good as it seems, and nothing's ever as bad as it looks. Now, those games in the past 2 years, teams that lost by double digits in week 1 are 10-3 the past 2 years.
Mm.
So more recently, that trend, the overreaction trend, has really been prevalent.
Right.
So jumping into week 2, get into our picks. Why don't you start us off?
I'll start it off again. Listen, I've actually already kind of hit on it a little bit. Miami's going up to New England now. New England had themselves a nice day. Mac Jones was able to spread the ball around to his receivers, his tight ends. Maybe because Tom Brady was in the building, he got the crowd hype. You know, you had some of that Brady fever in Gillette, so maybe that was it. But can they? To me, you have to face this red hot Miami offense, right? Defensively, I thought they played well, especially in the pass game. In the run game, they could be a little bit better. That's the thing that I'm looking for. But first off, big shout out to the bigs on the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins. I'm always going to harp on it. That's where my heart is. They had no Teron Armstead last week, and I said that could be an issue because last year when Teron didn't play, they gave up a lot more sacks, a lot more hits, but they were like, no Teron, no problem. 0 sacks on 45 attempts through the air. That's big time, dude. Do you understand me? That is huge when you got to face those 2 rushers in Los Angeles for the Chargers. 2 at 466 yards. Here was a stat that I found really interesting. This guy had 5 receivers with 40 plus more yards. That's how you get everybody involved. That's how you really execute your game plan. Tyreek, 200 yards, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, you're talking Bill Belichick, defensive genius. He's going to make sure that he keeps these guys in front of him. You can't let Tyreek and Waddle get behind you. I was listening to Antoine Bethea on the Man to Man podcast, and obviously he was a safety, and he was talking about some of these DBs, right? Putting that pride to the side, right? Don't sit up there and challenge Tyreek off the line. You cannot put your safeties in a bad position, right? Defensively, it's going to really be up to the scheme. And that's what Belichick does. He does a good job of neutralizing your big threat, and he finds ways to really exploit your weaknesses. And their weaknesses last week was stopping the run and running the ball on Miami was. So I feel like, the Patriots have an opportunity to do that, but I just think it's going to be too much. I think that they're going to continue to build on the success that they had last week. Tyreek is really playing well. The way Tua is spreading the ball around is going to be big. Now, for Mac Jones, is he going to be able to have another strong showing like he did last week in Philly? That's really kind of up in the air right now. So it's really something that we need to see. The Miami Dolphins are favored by 2.5. I like the Dolphins this week. I like them actually winning by like 3 in a close game up there in Foxborough. It's not an easy place to win. The crowd's going to be into it. It's their second game in a row. So, they're trying to get their train on the tracks too. So, yeah, I'm going to take Miami again. I just think they got a lot of firepower, and Tua's really going to lead these guys.
The only red flag I will tell you that I see in that game is Vegas has this total at 46.5, which is on the lower end. And if the Dolphins are going to win this game, it's got to be in a shootout, right? They're not going to win a low score. They're going to put points up. They scored 36 by themselves last week, so for Vegas to have this at 46, I think it's going to be a low-scoring battle. They're going to need to be able to run the ball, eat up some of that clock.
Yeah, to me, New England's game plan is going to be how long can we make Tua sit on the bench? Can we run the ball effectively? I like their running backs, right? Ezekiel Elliott has to do a better job of holding on to the ball this week, and that's going to be something that I know was preached to him come Monday. What's that game plan going to be? Make these guys beat you on the ground and make them stop the run. That's how I think the New England Patriots would win this game. I just think that Mike McDaniel, his offensive scheme, I really liked some of the positions that he put Tyreek, these motions that he put him in last week. I want to see what he's able to do week 2. Give me the Dolphins.
Take the Dolphins. My first pick, I'm going with the divisional game in the NFC. Nothing's ever as good as it seems, and nothing's ever as bad as it looks. Well, this one, the 49ers look pretty damn good. All aspects of the game. They dominated the Steelers. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. But the Rams look pretty good too, at least in the second half. They won by considerable margin, double digits, against the Seahawks. So this game, the line opened at 6.5. Everyone thinks the 49ers, right? The public has driven this line up already to 8. I think it's going to close around 8.5, 9. That crosses a key number there of 7. So now I'm getting the Rams at home by more than a field goal in a divisional game. I'm taking the Rams here, and it's mostly based on value, strictly because Vegas put this at 6.5 for a reason. They knew people were going to jump on the 49ers. Now we have this ESPN effect that we call, right? The media effect. Everybody's crowning the 49ers. You know, Brock Purdy's amazing. You got Christian McCaffrey. Everyone's giving them the Lombardi trophy already. So that drives it up a little bit. Now, the only other thing, the ESPN effect that's happened recently that makes me hesitant with this is the Colorado Buffaloes. If you look at them, they're part of the ESPN effect right now, right? And they're killing it. They're crushing it. Nothing you can do there. But I think there's just too much value here getting the Rams at north of 8 because the public has driven it up because of the media attention on the Niners and what they've done. Don't crown them yet. Give me the Rams north of a touchdown. I'm getting 8 points. I like the value there.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid pick. Where's the game at again? It's in LA?
It's in LA.
Yeah, that Rams 49ers game is always a dogfight. If you can remember the last few years, it's obviously San Francisco had a lot more success last year, but it's always a dogfight, especially when they have some early success. I'm not mad at that pick. I do think the 49ers win that, but by more than a touchdown, that's gutsy to take that. Listen, for my second team that I played for, and it's funny because all my teams are away this week. It's Bears at Bucks. Bucks went into Minnesota and stole week 1. That says a lot.
Told you so.
Yeah, that says a lot. It says a lot about the Bucks, but it says even more about Minnesota. What is going on in Minnesota? Why can't this team get over the hump, right? One of the big topics going into last week, they were talking about who had more to prove at the quarterback position. And 2 of the guys on there was Jordan Love and obviously Justin Fields. To me, it's not Love. It's Fields. Like, you've seen what his scope of work has been over the last couple of years, and you want to see a guy continue to go up, right? And I do think that quarterback play is the most important thing in the NFL for these teams. Jordan Love and the Packers, they showed up, they showed out. Just like we talked about earlier, Green Bay has won, and we might have talked about this off camera, but they've won the last 9 matchups in a row. And it's hard for me to pick the Packers over the Bears, but if I'm talking with my wallet, not with my heart, the trend is in, like Baccarat, like if it's telling you 9 times in a row, you better take it on the 10th time as well. I guess Chicago thought they had a chance since Rodgers wasn't going to be in there anymore. But, like we were saying, week 2 is about making corrections, right? The Chicago Bears have corrections that they have to make. Justin Fields, I believe out of all the pass attempts he had, he didn't get many, I believe maybe 5 past 10 yards through the air. How many balls did he throw through the air? How many times did he try to stretch the field? DJ Moore was not really much of an aspect. And if you go back and you look at the game, it was competitive in the first half. They were really losing by 1 until a couple bonehead plays, and they were able to give up a last-second field goal to make it 10-6 in the first half. Then they come out in the second half. It seems like they were out-coached, out-executed, and really out-hustled, man. I mean, if you looked at some of those Claypool highlights, this is a guy that you've invested some stock in, and you think he's going to really be a part of your team, and he's one of your pivotal wide receivers out there really not giving much effort, right? You can't have those types of players on the field, and they're talking about maybe making this guy a healthy scratch. So, they got a lot of work to do. And I said it comes down to quarterback play, and I don't think Justin Fields played a bad game, but I do think the quarterback took way too many hits. He got sacked 4 times. He took numerous hits. And then this is a guy you love when he has the ball in his hand. He's able to run the ball as well. So how many times are you gonna let your quarterback get hit? Whether he's getting sacked, hit, or you have designed runs, right? It's really all gonna come down to his health. You need this guy for 17 games. I think this is going to be a tough matchup. I think I like what the Bucs were able to do. I don't believe that the 2 linebackers in Tampa are going to let Justin Fields just run all over the place. I believe they're going to have a spy on him, and they're both fast, and they're both have really good speed to catch up to them. I like the Bucks in this one. They're getting 3 points. I'm taking the Bucks. I'm taking the Bucks at home.
There you go. I was watching Red Zone on Sunday, and every time they cut to the Bears game, especially early on,
Yeah.
the kid Fields makes some plays. I mean, he
Yes.
was shimmy shaking. He looks like a young Cam Newton with a better arm.
Right.
So it's
That
going
is-
to take some time for him to get better. I think you're a little bitter about what happened last week taking the Bears, so you're going against them this week. But
Yeah, just
I'll
make
root for
it just make it more competitive. I mean, you look at the
it was a
first
blowout.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first half, you're like, okay, like they could come out, make some adjustments, pick the intensity up a little bit and maybe find a way to go put 7 on the board, but it was just like they came out flat, had no life about them, and the score just kind of got carried away.
All right, we went against his Bears. My second pick came up in my system as a strong play this week. I don't love it personally. It's the Jaguars at home getting 3.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, once I dug into this a little deeper, the numbers say to take the Jaguars, right? At home, getting points. Everybody out there is saying the Chiefs aren't going to start 2-0. So a lot of people are jumping on them there. I broke down the Jaguars game against the Colts. Offense looked great. 342 yards, 237 in the air, and they didn't even have to throw that much. They only allowed 65 rushing yards. Now, Jonathan Taylor wasn't there, but still, if they can lock up the rushing game in Kansas City, focus on Mahomes, have that QB spy, don't let him run. I think they can keep it close at home. You're giving me north of a field goal. I think this game comes down to whoever has the ball last, and I think this is a 3-point game either way. So I'll take the value. I got the Jaguars at home covering the spread against the Chiefs.
What's the spread again?
3.5.
Wow. So you're telling me you don't think they're going to come out and have a strong showing? Is Kelsey playing this week?
This Jacksonville team, he's practicing again, I heard. This Jacksonville team doesn't care who's on the other side of the ball. It's about them. They're young. They're upcoming. Doug Peterson's got that locker room changed. You got Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. Well, we're going to see. We're
Sounds good, doesn't it?
It sounds great. Listen, this could be another one of those going back to the drawing board effects. Like, how are the Kansas City Chiefs going to respond? Obviously, they had some good success last year, but week 1, the Lions came out and they stung them, right? And they finally get their pivotal piece back in the middle of their defense and Chris Jones. So I think he's going to be a big factor for them. Key players make key plays. So if Kelsey's out there, I think, Patrick Mahomes feels a lot better. Tony's going to have to, make sure he brings his hands to this game, and maybe the Chiefs will have a little bit more success. I think they got a lot to prove, though. So going into Jacksonville and getting a big W will be a good look for them. You know where we're going. You know where we're going with the last game. You know what we're doing. It's Monday night. It's Saints at Panthers. This is my best bet. And I really think it's going to be a beautiful display of defense. I don't know how much offense is going to be going on in this game. Bryce Young first start last week wasn't good, and I don't think it gets any easier this week. Going to the other side of the ball, Derek Carr. If you look at his stats, over 300 yards, his rating was in the mid-90s. Awesome, right? Here's the thing that really concerned me, even watching it live and going back and looking at it 2 times. The New Orleans offensive line gave up 4 sacks in this game versus the Tennessee Titans. And that's an issue. But here's the other issue. They had pressure on Derek Carr on 51% of his passes. That is an absurd stat. That is extremely high. So 1 out of every 2 times that he goes back for the ball, goes back for a pass attempt, somebody's around him, hitting him, or making him run outside the pocket. That's tough, right?
I think you need to suit back up.
Yeah, I'll suit back up. I got 1 drive. I got 2 run plays and 3
3 inhalers.
Right. Another thing that will help, this Saints offense is reviving this rushing attack. Obviously, you have no AK for the next couple of weeks, but Jamal Williams is obviously a back who can get it in the end zone. But 2.5 yards a carry is not going to get the job done. And then you look at Carolina's running back duo. Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard. Sanders over 4+ yards per carry last week. Hubbard over 6 yards a carry. The thing that's really promising for the Saints, their defense held Derrick Henry to just a little bit over 4 yards and 67 yards on the day. What's going to be the rush plan, though? You know, at the end of the day, for me, this game comes down: can New Orleans keep Brian Burns away from Derek Carr? Now, I believe over the right tackle, Ryan Ramczyk, I believe he'll be contained. But Trevor Penning showed last week that he is struggling a little bit with speed rushers, bending on the edge. And now you got to play Brian Burns, who's going to dissect all that film from week one, and he's going to see that Trevor Penning is an issue versus the speed rush. They're going to have to come up with a plan, because not only can he rush, you got Frankie Louvu who can rush, and up the middle you have Derek Brown. So I don't think their job up front gets easier when you're trying to protect the passer, but it's something that's going to be key. You got to come up with a rush plan, right? Give this guy a nudge, give this guy alignment help, slide to Burns, give help on the other side, so you're making sure that Derek Carr feels comfortable in the pocket. Every time that the Saints go to Carolina, it's always a dogfight. Even back when I played, it didn't matter if on paper we had the better team. Carolina, New Orleans, it's going to be a fight. One thing that does worry me, I wish this was the same numbers as the Dolphins at the 2.5. 3.5 is concerning, because the Saints only beat the Titans by 1. I don't know if they can beat more than 3, but I do like the Saints in this one if they come up with a rush plan. Again, I talked about the Panthers defense. These guys had 4 sacks. Listen to this: 4 sacks, the Panthers defense, on just 22 attempts. That's special right there. That's special. Man, J.C. Horn's going to be out this week, but if you can control the rush, how do you control the rush, Meehan? Balance in your play calling and a good solid run game. That's going to be key. So I'm going to give it to Saints. I'm going to give it to the Saints based on those 2 factors. Come up with a rush plan and run the ball better. I don't think that Bryce Young is going to be able to have much success on his defense. And I'm just going by what I saw from him last week, and then what I saw what the Saints defense can do, because that's the secondary it might be top 3 in the league.
So you went with the Dolphins against the Bears and with the Saints. Keep track, people, because Saints gave him that ring. His wife gave him that ring too, and I don't see him going against her very often.
Well, listen, she's not competing. She won the race.
Saints gave him that ring too, and he's not going to go against them very often this season. But this could be a good spot for them.
I can't do it right now. I can't do it right now because obviously we still have Lombardi dreams, right? But like I said, the 3.5 worries me. So if you're out there betting with your wallet and not your heart, like me, then you might want to take the Panthers, because I think this is going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I got to give the edge to the Saints. Like I said, you don't have J.C. Horn out there, and Michael Thomas looks good, right? Chris Olave looks good. Rashid Shaheed is a speed demon. So let's start getting this guy involved a little bit more. I like the Saints in this one.
He's got the Saints. All right. You went with your heart for your best bet.
Yes.
I got to go against mine. It sucks every time I do it, because my residence is Maryland, and I got to go against the Ravens here for my best bet. I'm going with the Bengals. They're laying 3.5 at home. Remember, nothing's as good as it seems, and nothing's as bad as it looks. And the Bengals looked really bad. really bad. It didn't look much worse. The Ravens won by double digits in Houston, right? I'm sorry, at home against Houston. But they only had 110 rushing yards and 155 passing yards. Now, that 110 rushing yards was with J.K. Dobbins. Now, Dobbins is gone. Gus Edwards is the guy. You're going to see Lamar probably try to run a little more. I think this is the game. Cincy at home should be able to hold them to less than what Houston did on the road. So 110 yards, you might have less than 100 yards rushing. This could be the statement game where Eric DeCosta and the Ravens front office has to say, we need to go out and get a running back and bring somebody in-house. Maybe we trade for Jonathan Taylor. I think this is a game the Ravens are in trouble. Joe Burrow is going to come out swinging. He just signed a big contract and then came and played like that. Now he's going back in front of his home crowd. He's got to get them fired up. Show them he's worth all them Benjamins. And let's not forget, he's 12-3 against the spread his last 15 games. So he's not going to be as bad as that last game. He's going to come out. Money Joe is going to win. Bengals -3.5 over my Ravens
Mm.
is my best bet.
You know, that's a good one because I definitely, I was definitely, I'm not going to say disappointed, but I was shocked to see how the Bengals performed. And, you know, specifically Joe Burrow. I mean, especially coming off getting that bag like he did. You know, but, you know, you're not paid. You're paid on what you've done. Okay.
Right.
And you're hoping that you can keep up that same success. So, yeah, I mean, listen, you know, Cool Joe, he's a competitor. So I'm hoping he comes out, has a good game as well. I mean, for your Ravens, you know, obviously you didn't play for the Ravens. You know, I played for the Saints. So, you know, it's really in my heart. You feel me? I mean, They just made me legend of the game. You think I'm going to go against them, Meehan? That's what I said. That's my disclaimer, okay? Don't listen to me. Listen to me. Go to Me's Money Moves because this is what he does. I'm going to talk and bet with my heart because that's who I am. I wear it on my sleeve. And if my guys don't win, then I'm up. You know, it is what it is. But I like the Saints, and I do like your pick this week again. So hopefully, I just need to. You know, I just need a win, right? I just need a win.
Gotta get that
Cover the
first one on the
spread.
board. Get the first one on the board.
We got to, man. Saints, listen. At the end of the day, just contain these two speed demons they have on the edge, and we'll easily beat these guys by 3.5. Easily. But if you let this guy pester Derek Carr like he got hit last week, it's going to be a tit-for-tat game, you know. Score here, field goal here, stall out. You know, like that's the type of game it was in Tennessee. It was like, who makes less mistakes, right? Tannehill gave the ball away 3 times, right? I could get into this game. We're not going to, you know, dive into it too much, but you got to protect the quarterback, right? Protect the quarterback. He can't get hit that much. Not on 51% of his passes. It can't happen. So that's who I went with, man. All my dogs is on the road, and I think 2 of them are going to steal the show.
All my dogs are at home. I'm 2-1. You're 0-3. I got the Bengals. I'm sorry. I got the Rams, Jaguars, and Bengals is my best bet. Yeah. You have the Dolphins, the Bucks over your Bears, and the Saints as your best bet. There you guys have it. Recap. Heading into week 2. Remember, this is the nothing's as good as it looks. Nothing's as good as it seems, and nothing's as bad as it looks week. Big overreaction week. So
you'll get it right sooner or later.
Just remember, practice makes perfect. Overreaction week. I'm going to stick with that. Okay. This is the week where everything you saw last week, don't think it's going to translate because people are going to make changes.
I'm not
week
mad
2,
at that.
Baby.
I'm telling you what, I'm happy as hell. Football's back. I had my little, you know, obviously I couldn't see too much. I was only obviously able to watch one game, but just looking at the highlights, you know, just checking out all the games, checking out all my players. It was exciting to see. Football's back every single week. I'll see you guys next week. It's Bush and me.
Enjoy week 2. Bush and me. We're out.